Well, Peter, the movie now is completed and ready for distribution. And how many times have you seen it?
Well, not that often, strangely. I've seen it now. I saw it last night for the first time with an audience.
And what
And
did you think?
for a comedy, that is a terrifying time for an author, or for anyone connected with a film, to see a comedy with an audience. Now, you don't have to see a mystery with an audience. You don't have to see a western with an audience. You don't have to see a disaster film with an audience. But a comedy, you have to see with an audience because if it's silent in the theater, you have enormous trouble. Now, a normal picture, it's always silent in the theater, except when they're stumbling up and down the aisles looking for popcorn. But in a comedy, you'd better hear something. And I must tell you, some of my gray hair turned back to black again last night because it was very gratifying. They really never stopped laughing from the beginning to the end. And yet, being a mystery as well as a comedy, I noticed with great gratification that the laughter, while it exploded the way it should on a good joke, it quickly went down under because they wanted to hear the mystery, the plot, because it didn't stop. It doesn't stop for you, you know. Cary Grant always used to say, I was working with Cary, always used to say, I put in stuff after jokes. And I said, what do you mean? He says, well, in a full house, you never hear it. But just think, at the last show at the music hall, you know, when there are supposed to be 5,000 people in there and there are only about 1,200 and the place is a little silent and empty, I give those people a little something in between jokes so they'll, though it's not heard in a full theater. But the trouble with a comedy mystery is, and you have to be very careful, and sometimes you have to sacrifice jokes, is that if you put a joke in front of some important plot, people are going to miss the next turn of the film. So it was extraordinarily gratifying. I only saw the film completed, well, never completed. I saw it in various stages of incompletion. I saw it, there is the first time anyone sees the film, including the director. It's called the first assemblage, the rough assemblage. And even he hasn't cut the film yet. It's just they've stuck together everything in the right sequence. And it is always, you have to either be slightly drunk or it's white knuckle time, because you don't realize how much you're used to seeing a film finished with music. I mean, we're used to seeing films finished, and to see a film where the timing is off and you still hear, instead of a telephone, you hear the director going brrr, instead of a telephone ringing, and so forth, and those effects and everything, and you get through, and it takes a strong, strong person to say it's working, because it sure didn't. What you're working on is the fact that it's all there. At least it's all there. Now let's go cut it. And then your first cut, and things begin to look a little better. And finally, by the time you get to your last cut, even if the film's a dog, it has improved so from its assemblage that you think you're present at the second coming of Birth of a Nation. In any case, this film has been a delight to watch because it has progressed properly and the right things arrived at the right time. And Henry Mancini wrote a score that's just absolutely terrific. Mancini wrote the score for the first film I ever did, which was Charade. And it's a lovely theme, and I hear it. I don't think I've ever gone into an elevator where I haven't heard it playing. And this score is very much like that. I don't mean it's the melodies are similar. I think it's very much like that in style, and I was delighted to hear it.
Peter, wanted to ask you, at the time you were writing the screenplay, which was based on a book, did you have any idea who would be playing the roles?
Not really. There have been times I've only known once in my life for sure. I once did a picture with Cary Grant, the second film I did with him, that was arranged that he would do the film before I started writing. I wrote it with him and for him, and that was Father Goose.
And
I'd
you
made an
won the
agreement.
Academy.
Well, that was a happy experience. I said to him at the time, since he was to play a disheveled and disillusioned beachcomber who needed a shave and dirty clothes, and I said to him, Cary, look, you have made a lifetime of being the most debonair man in the world. You are perfectly dressed, perfectly coiffed, perfectly. I mean, you are. I mean, you are everybody's idol of what a man ought to look like when he gets himself together. Now, this could be your last film. I mean, he was in his 60s at the time, and in fact, it was his next to last. He did only one film after it. I said, I can't do this film except to do it as it should be done, and you have to make a commitment to being this beachcomber. Now, are you going to be this bum? Because at the last minute, if we're going to say, oh gosh, I think I ought to dress up a little, it isn't going to work. So what do you say? He said, I promise. So I said, if you promise, that's enough for me. And we went and we did the film, and he did it, and he was super in it. And as I said at the Academy Award, I really said I wanted to thank Cary Grant, who keeps winning these things for other people, which in fact he did and does. But I say still does do it for other people because the legacy of Cary Grant, I still write Cary Grant roles. The pity is that there aren't enough people to play them. Maybe there never were.
What would it take to get him into a picture now?
An atom bomb.
Why doesn't he want to work anymore?
Because I don't say, he just doesn't, well, let's go with the most mundane, doesn't need the money, all right? So therefore the choice can be a little freer. First of all, I don't think Cary ever really enjoyed it all that much. He used to say to me, what I'm really looking for, what I really want, I want you to write me a part of a man, of a deaf mute in a wheelchair. And I say, why? He says, because I don't want to do anything. I don't want to learn lines. I don't want to have to run around. I'd love to sit there and not say anything. And so I don't think he was all that enamored with it after a while. He made so many films. And the interesting thing about Cary is films date quickly, some, and some never do. And Cary's films, to go back, you can go back to the beginning. Cary's film, I just saw Gunga Din yesterday. I was waiting to come up here. I had a minute to go. I turned on the television. There was Cary in Gunga Din. That picture could be released day after tomorrow, and there's not a frame of it that is old-fashioned, not a frame of it. And so is Only Angels Have Wings and Philadelphia Story. My goodness, what a film that is, and how modern it is. And Cary, I'm not saying Cary made the films great. They had great directors. They had George Cukor, and there was George Stevens, and there was Howard Hawks. We're talking about those particular three films. But somehow, when a film, Cary is timeless, what he did, and miraculous, really, because men liked him. He was no threat to men. Women just fell down in front of him, and yet men didn't resent it. That's what a movie star needs today. I mean, if there's certain people who are, the men say, well, but men have to like them as well. I mean, like Burt Reynolds. I mean, Burt Reynolds' success is that no man denies Burt Reynolds or objects to Burt Reynolds' success with women. They like him too, and so forth. But nothing could get Cary back, frankly. He doesn't want to do it. He did it. He did it right. You remember him a certain way. It's very much like Garbo. She doesn't want it anymore. Garbo came to an age where she said, I've done the best, and there's nothing more I can do in film. I'm not interested in playing character parts. I don't want to, for whatever reason. Why should she? She created a legend. Cary created a legend. Let the legend. He's having a good time living. He became a father, son after he quit. He's enjoying his daughter. He's traveling. He loves to fly in airplanes. He adores that. And he looked for a job where he could fly everywhere, and when Brute came along and offered him that, he took it, and again, not for the money, but because he could sit in an airplane and travel all over the world and see the people he's always loved. He loves going to Monaco and seeing Grace, who's a dear friend of his. He loves going off and doing that sort of thing. So he's fine. So nothing could get him back, really.
Does he really like that airplane food that much?
I don't think he eats. Yeah, but you know something? Cary's not all that interested in food. I don't think you could be and look like that. I'm interested in food, and this is what happens to you. I put on weight. I have to watch it. I have to, I lived in France 12 years, and during that time, I became very interested in food, and which means that I have been on a diet for 20 years. I've been either trying to lose or trying not to put on weight. Cary keeps himself very trim, eats sensibly. And so he's not interested. So airplane food is probably fine for him.
Peter, it's been a joy talking with you.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it very, very much.
And come back down to Texas. And
I like, my mother was a Texan, and I'm a Texan, and don't say that without meaning it. I'll show up.
okay, that's it. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.